Friends, we're going to begin by diving into this question of how does Young Life's mission and our mission statement fit into the mission of the Catholic Church? And it's simple for us in Young Life. Our mission statement is clear and basic. Young Life exists that we might introduce adolescents to the person of Jesus Christ and help them mature in their faith. And that puts us in the category of being evangelists. We're evangelizers. We believe in evangelism. It's all rooted in the Greek word evangelizo, which comes back from the prophet Isaiah. It's best captured in the 52nd chapter, verse 7, when Isaiah says, "How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, and who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, your God reigns." That whole idea of proclaiming the greatness and the personhood of God is wrapped up in the Greek word of evangelizo, and that's where we get this term evangelism. But what about the Catholic Church? Would it surprise you to learn that the Catholic Church has the same mission? Now, we can learn about what the Church believes and teaches because we have vast documents, vast teachings on what it is that the Church is all about. And those teachings and those documents and addresses, they come forth from time to time to refresh and renew who and what the Church really is. Listen to this statement from John Paul II back when he was Pope in 1975. He says, "Evangelizing is in fact the grace and vocation proper to the Church. It's her deepest identity. She exists to evangelize." Did you catch that? Back in 1975, John Paul II is saying that the Church actually exists to evangelize. And that's why Young Life exists too. And so there ought to be a way for us to work together. Now there are literally volumes on this idea within the Church, but let me read one more passage. This is from 2007. It's under Pope Benedict. And they wrote a document called Doctrinal Notes on Evangelization. And I think you'll hear some common language. The document states, "The term evangelization has a very rich meaning. In a broad sense, it sums up the Church's entire mission. Her whole life consists in accomplishing the proclamation and handing on of the Gospels, which is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. Understood in this way, evangelization is aimed at all of humanity. In any case, to evangelize does not mean simply to teach a doctrine, but to proclaim Jesus Christ by one's words and actions. That is, to make oneself an instrument of his presence and action in the world." And then the document goes on to quote John Paul II, and listen to this language. "Every person has the right to hear the good news of God, who reveals and gives himself in Christ, so that each one can live out in fullness his or her proper calling." Did you catch that? Each person has the right to hear the good news of God. It's almost as if they were quoting Jim Rayburn. We heard the very same language of Jim Rayburn, our founder, found in 2007 in the doctrinal statement of the Catholic Church. So then what creates the disconnect? Why is it that Young Life and the Catholic Church haven't at all times and all places worked together? Well, that's a broad question, but one thing to understand is that the Catholic Church is enormous. It's global, it's multi-generational, it's in every culture and in every language. And so while it does unify around some incredibly essential ideas, the interpretation of these ideas is broad and varied. And so it may be that locally or in different pockets of humanity in different cultures, we don't see an exact conformity to these ideas that we're reading. But as a starting point, in Young Life, we can feel confident that on the most basic foundational theological grounds, our missions are unified and we're going in the same direction.